I'm Dr. Sena Ozdemir, and I'm a senior lecturer in marketing or associate professor in marketing at Lancaster University Management School. So today I will be talking about the role of customer analytics in new product development and performance, and the role of contingencies in this process. I think most of my presentation will be based on our publication with my colleagues, including Professor Suraksa Gupta, who is a professor in here, published in actually technological forecasting and social change. So we actually published this paper this year, and the paper is titled as Customer Analytics and New Product Performance, the Role of Contingencies. Along with so many other colleagues as well, like Yi Chuan Wang from Sheffield University, Professor Sena, who is going to also give another talk in the afternoon. She's also from Sheffield University, Shizi Zhang from Jingtang University, China, and Minha Zhang from Bristol University. So initially I will give some background to this topic and just present the rationale of our study, actually mainly published in this journal, and then talk about the aims of our study, and then I will talk about a little bit literature on customer analytics, what we mean by customer analytics, what is it's different from big data analytics or more generally from marketing analytics. Then I will talk about actually the theoretical background of our study, which theories we have used to explain our research phenomena. And then I will talk about the research methods. Because of the time limitations, I won't be going into the statistical data, but just present you some insights about our findings. And then finally, we'll talk about the limitations and what can be done in the future research around this topic. So when we talk about customer analytics, actually it is a very popular concept, and what we mean by customer analytics, I will define it later again, but customer analytics is a kind of subcategory of big data analytics. And big data analytics actually can analyze any type of structured and unstructured data to make kind of general managerial decisions. And also we can talk more specifically about marketing analytics, but actually customer analytics is a more kind of specific type of I can call big data analytics, which is focusing on consumers or customers. So although the popularity of this concept has been increasing over the years, we can see that even recent studies, they have reported that several retailers actually they had to shut down their operations because they were not able to properly create customer value by using these analytical methods and tools. So actually this is a big problem, particularly in the context of small and medium enterprises. If we think about the limitations of these organizations in terms of their resources and capabilities, it is really challenging for them to implement analytics-based methods and techniques. Because if we think about using customer analytics and its variations, actually it requires significant investment. So it's a risky undertaking for several organizations which really need to invest to build up these infrastructures. So actually it is a research which was done 10 years ago, but still I think that's the case. This continues to be the case for several organizations. Like for example, in 2013 there was a study with 400 companies, and 77% of the respondents did not have any clear big data analytic strategies, or they were not using big data analytics properly to inform their decision making, and they were not actually using it to improve their operations, including product and service development processes. So there are lots of studies actually which have already examined the role of customer analytics in general on organizational or firm performance, but there are not many studies which are looking at specifically the impact of customer analytics on new product development process and practice and outcome. So in our study we focus on that. And also lots of the studies actually they have used resource-based view and defined customer analytics as an organizational resource which may enable firms to achieve higher performance, competitiveness in the market, but they have not really looked into how organizations they use, for example, customer analytics or other big data analytics variations to learn, like the organization learning, how it takes place in the context of customer analytics has been understudied actually in the area. So in this context, although resource-based view and knowledge-based view, which define actually this kind of methods like customer analytics either as a resource or a knowledge-based resource, actually they have not looked into like how they may inform organizations in their learning processes, and also how actually customer analytics may work under different situations, under different conditions. Because if we think about like from an environmental perspective, I mean, usually the literature has been looking at the bright side of using customer analytics and how they really improved performance. But actually, we need to also question the usefulness of customer analytics in certain situations. Like the question is whether we can use customer analytics all the time under all type of environmental conditions. So our study also looked into that subject. So in this context, research had limited understanding and insights into under which conditions actually customer analytics may work best, and actually particularly in this study we also looked at when actually customer analytics may not properly work. So in this context, our study identified certain contingency factors and how actually customer analytics may affect new product performance under these contingency factors. So we look at some internal, intra-organizational contingencies, and they can be defined as internal capabilities. So whether you have proper, for example, data analysts in your organization who can properly implement these methods. And then we also look at some knowledge management related concepts like knowledge integration mechanisms. For example, we have a concept in marketing which is market orientation. So for marketers, it is really important to use market knowledge to give insights into their decision making. Predominantly product development decisions should be based on existing or latent customer needs or market needs. So actually the information dissemination within different functional units of the organization is also important. So we also look at like these knowledge or integration mechanisms, like how customer analytics really kind of can affect new product performance through these different knowledge integration mechanisms. They are formal mechanisms which help organizations to coordinate, to disseminate knowledge within their organization. And also we look at the interaction of these customer analytics with exploitative learning strategies, whether they work or not. So actually, we can say that, as I said before, customer analytics is a kind of subset of marketing analytics. When we talk about marketing analytics, we can talk about like generating insights or intelligence about, for example, wider market-related issues such as industry trends, such as competition, changing market needs as well. But in the context of customer analytics, we are looking at specifically customers to understand their behaviors and preferences. So, for example, we have different marketing touch points where actually our customers interact with our brands or with our retail companies. And then actually we are using this kind of data. Usually in customer analytics, we are collecting customer data through different marketing channels, through different marketing touch points to make sense of their future behaviors and preferences. And also customer analytics actually is very useful for companies when they do also segmentation of their customers. So we can say that very similar to big data analytics because it's a variation of big data analytics. It uses, for example, descriptive statistics as well as AI-based machine learning techniques, predictive analytics using so many different types of data. So they can be kind of structured data, mainly, for example, based on transaction-based kind of data, or they may be unstructured data, which may be, for example, attained through audio calls to customer call centers and so on. So in the context of a new product development, in this context, customer analytics can help organizations to develop, for example, new products which may have a better fit, better alignment with the market needs and preferences. And also they can actually help organizations to introduce their products in a timely manner, because actually it is really important to introduce the right product at the right time. So in terms of the characteristics of a product and the timing of their introduction, actually in decisions in relation to these issues, customer analytics would be quite beneficial. So in this context, which kind of firms benefit from customer analytics first? First of all, you should be able to have a lot of data, like we are talking about like volume, high volume or data with high volume. So in here, actually, when we talk about, for example, business to consumer organizations which are directly dealing with individual consumers, I think they have more possibility to collect these high volumes of data. So for example, if we think about business to business organizations, because an industrial organization which is serving to business customers would like to have fewer number of customers, maybe the volume of data will be more limited as compared to for example, organizations which are dealing with individual consumers. And also, if customers, they use customer analytics in their repetitive decision making, I think this becomes like a competence for them over time. Like they can develop their competence in deploying customer analytics, so they can benefit most. And if they have access to the required customer analytics talent and expertise, then they would benefit again from customer analytics or implementation of it. So actually, the problem with the kind of implementation, one of the biggest problem is that it is really difficult for organizations to identify the right talent who can properly implement customer analytics. And also we can talk about like where if actually organizations can use also relevant customer analytics driven platforms and techniques, it may be also very useful for them as well. So in other words, I mean, if they kind of use a combination of different methods and techniques, I think the benefit from customer analytics also increases. So in this context, we can talk about like 4 V's of customer analytics. So we can talk about 3 or 5 V's of big data analytics. So in the context of customer analytics, we can talk about the big volume, and big volume of data can be kind of dependent on the basket size of customers or visit volume of customers. So actually when customers shop more in a retail store, then organizations would likely to have a higher volume of data. But at the same time, if an organization uses data from multiple channels, for example, then it also increases the possibility of having higher volume data. Then we can also talk about the importance of having variety, because actually usually particularly volume and variety kind of may lead to some data scarcity issues as well. So in the context of variety, we need to have, of course, various data, and then organizations usually use stock keeping units to identify different product categories, but then there should be sufficient number of or kind of some appropriate categorization of different products and different product categories to capture that variety in data. Or we can also say that like we can capture a variety by actually attaining data, different types of data, like unstructured, structured data from multiple channels again. And here we can also talk about the basket value, like how much a consumer may shop, but at the same time value may refer to the usefulness of the data for organizations. Usually, actually, customer data would be, or in the context of customer analytics, the value of data is more enhanced than when you use open source data, for example. So, but actually, organizations again may look into different kind of concepts associated with this, such as customer lifetime value data may be kind of considered, or recency, frequency, and monetary value of customers' visits may be considered. So again, visits are quite important, like how like what is the recency of customer visits, how frequent they are kind of visiting the companies or retailers, and the time between them, and so on. So we can also talk about this integration of customer analytics with other digital technologies. So this is actually one research gap in the area, I think, because we don't have many studies except one so far, which have kind of looked into how really this customer analytics may interact, work with other digital technologies. So for example, we can talk about retailment and gamification approaches. So nowadays, actually, retailers, they want to create more enjoyable shopping experiences for their customers. That's why they introduce some games, some kind of interactive elements in even their physical stores. For example, if we think about Nike stores, they sell, of course, like fashion related products, clothes, shoes. So when customers actually consider, for example, buying a Nike product, they can actually get into a virtual reality world in their stores, and they can actually, in that virtual reality kind of world, they can observe how Nike products are sourced, how they are developed and distributed. So actually, organizations can kind of collect that kind of data from customers, like for example, how much importance customers are giving to sustainability. Like we can understand more about our customers' behaviors. And also, like Farfetch is a fashion brand, actually a retailer. They have also opened a store which actually enables customers to use augmented reality, emotion scanning software, and digital or kind of smart mirrors to kind of list kind of the product that they have been interested, to see their browsing history in a snapshot. So actually, nowadays, organizations are kind of integrating this online and physical presence in their stores to make this shopping experience more enjoyable, but at the same time to create a seamless experience for customers through omni-channel marketing strategies, actually. Then another example, the rest is a kind of game developer company which actually allows users to become virtual stylists, and these users can kind of score different outfits in this game, and they can in turn earn some rewards. And these rewards actually can be used as real life rewards to purchase kind of products from more than 160 brands, including very high-end fashion retail brands. So also there is a trending store, I think in Westfield. I don't know whether you have seen it. It is called the Trending Store. So they use, for example, social media analytics to capture industry trends, and then in real time they are stocking the items in that store. So kind of you can find out in that store what is most trendy currently through social media, through influencers and so on. Actually, we can see that kind of integration, like you can capture that data about customers, and you can in real time like develop your service product development strategies in your to give a more enhanced retail experience to your customers. So again, if we look at these studies, we can see that like most of the studies, they look at like the relationship between customer analytics and product performance, not product performance, sorry, firm performance, and how customer analytics has created, for example, competitive advantage for organizations. Like they look at like its role in marketing decision making, firm performance. Only one study saw at all they look at product development management. So I mean, there are fewer studies which are looking at antecedents of actually customer analytics. They usually look at managerial support, or IT infrastructure, like how they may drive customer analytics. But actually, usually, we have still limited understanding of how they can inform new product development decisions. So in our study, actually, we look at the role of deployment of customer analytics in new product performance and some kind of contingency factors which may affect this process. So we defined customer analytics as a kind of organizational resource and knowledge-based resource, because it is providing some knowledge, some intelligence about customers to organizations. And then we also used contingency theory, because actually contingency theory says that your resources or other organizational elements need to be aligned with, for example, external or internal environment of your organization. So we are just here looking at actually the strategic fit between our resource deployments, and here we are looking specifically about the deployment of customer analytics and internal and external contingencies of organizations. So we in particular looked at mediation and moderation effects in our analysis, and my colleague Yu Chuan-Wang actually has tested the model by using some moderated mediated analysis. So our sample was from China, actually. So we collected data from 249 companies. So actually the people who were included in the survey, they had some kind of engagement in product development processes. So they had to be knowledgeable about, they had to have knowledge about new product development processes. And also they have used usually customer analytics in their product development decisions as well. So like we had several different respondents, including chief executive officers, marketing managers, or other type of managers, such as research and development managers. So we use multiple items in our survey, and we have tested all the reliability and validity tests, like including common method bias tests as well, and a series of multiple regression analysis, as well as we have also tested indirect effects between the constructs of our model through a macro for SPSS. So we have tested mediation and moderation effects simultaneously through bootstrapping technique, actually. So in here you can see the hypothesis of our actually paper. So in our paper we have found out that actually customer analytics, it has positive influence on product development performance, meaning that like when organizations, they use customer analytics to gain insights into customers' preferences, their behavior, actually they can succeed more in their product development. And also we found out that when you have the proper talents or competence within your organization, or human skills or data analysts which are capable to implement these customer analytics methods, then actually it means that it also has a positive influence on our new product development. So in other words, actually it is really important for organizations to have the right skills to properly implement customer analytics, and also they need to have some formal knowledge integration mechanisms to improve their product performance by using customer analytics. So when we talk about these knowledge integration mechanisms, they can be, for example, dissemination of knowledge through formal meetings, through some formal communication, because it is really important in the context of product development. Particularly our sample was based on a technology industries. So when you develop these new new products, you need to really make sure that all units of the organizations are aware of these customer insights, because they actually need to input into the product development processes as well. So in our study, we found out that also explorative learning actually negatively moderates the effect of deployment of customer analytics on new product performance. It means that actually we have two concepts in organizational learning: explorative learning and exploitative one. So when we talk about exploitative learning, it means that usually you learn based on path dependency processes, like you build on your existing knowledge and you develop your products based by building on your already existing organizational knowledge. For example, when we talk about the opposite one, explorative learning, it means that you need to unlearn your knowledge and be able to be open for learning of total new knowledge. So in this context, we can say that exploitative learning may not would not likely to lead to more innovative products. But at the same time, we can say that like it really is really not very helpful when we use customer analytics to improve our new product development decisions. So in other words, like maybe in the future, studies may also look at how explorative learning may actually interact with customer analytics to improve new product performance. But in the context of our study, when you try to build on your own knowledge, or if you actually try to learn by building on your existing knowledge, customer analytics may not be very helpful to improve your product performance. So also customer and market knowledge breadth, when we look at this concept, it also negatively moderated the effect of deployment of customer analytics on new product performance, which means that actually when you have so many kind of domains of knowledge in your organization, for example, then it means that like it may not really work. So sometimes actually it may be important to also focus on certain domains of knowledge. For example, if we think about the data analysts, most of the time they may not be able to succeed in improving organizational performance because they may not have sufficient marketing knowledge to make sense of the analytics results, for example. In this context, I think there needs to be also some focus on some domain specific knowledge when we try to use customer analytics to improve our new product performance. And then we also can see that like technological turbulence also negatively moderates the effect of customer analytics on new product performance, which means that actually customer analytics may not really very helpful in environments in which technology may be rapidly changing. And it makes sense because when we talk about customer analytics, it's about using customer data. So and then this kind of analytics may not give us very good insights into what kind of technologies we need to invest in when we develop a new product. So if, for example, we look at wider marketing analytics or big data analytics, the outcome may be quite different. So if your analytics process may allow you to capture some technological trends, maybe it may be useful, but actually in our results, they are not useful in the or customer analytics is not very useful in the context of technologically turbulent environments in which technology would be changing quite rapidly, or like the technologies used to develop new products would be changing rapidly. So we also look at some mediating and moderating effects as well, some other kind of effects. So actually in here also exploitative learning was not very helpful. For example, when we look at the mediating effect of for example knowledge integration mechanisms, so it was also reducing these mediation effects of knowledge integration mechanisms on the relationship between deployment of customer analytics and new product development. And again, market knowledge breadth actually was quite interesting because actually this mediation effect between the deployment of customer analytics and new product performance, the mediation effect of internal capabilities and knowledge integration mechanisms actually gradually disappeared for firms that had lower levels of market knowledge breadth. So actually, if we want to kind of gain the benefits of these mediation effects or knowledge integration mechanisms as well as internal capabilities, we should not limit ourselves in a very specific domain specific knowledge, in other words. So I mean, this was actually our overall findings from our data, but the important thing was that, like, although customer analytics is important and beneficial in the context of product development, it may not be very helpful in certain conditions, certain environmental situations. So actually, our research did not really look at so many different capabilities, just we focus on internal capabilities. So future research probably could look at, for example, how managerial capabilities also mediate the effect of customer analytics on new product performance. So we could include some wider ranges of capabilities in our model. And also we look at knowledge integration mechanisms, which were kind of formal way of integrating knowledge within the organization. But we can talk about also coordination flexibility, like more flexible forms of coordinating knowledge within the organization may take place as well. So in this context, we can say that this kind of more formal integration mechanisms can be considered as a mediation kind of factor or construct. And also actually we don't know, for example, customer analytics may be more useful in the fuzzy front end of product development, for example, during idea screening, concept screening, generation, and so on, or towards the end, for example, when we decide the timing of new product introduction. So actually we could also have a research in the future which may look into how customer analytics may work in different phases of product development. And also we could also integrate some other learning strategies like ambidextrous learning is also important. Like we could have a look at how actually customer analytics may work when we deploy both explorative and exploitative learning strategies in our organization. And also different types of market knowledge we could only include the knowledge breadth but not depth. So we could also look at this. And future research could also like look at how cross-functional integration within a firm and inter-firm collaboration with diverse types of stakeholders for product development purposes may support performance outcomes. So actually, for example, there are not any study which is looking like how customer analytics may work when two organizations together develop new products, because they need to then share customer data. Of course, there are lots of barriers to share data, particularly customer data, between organizations. But how this may work, for example, if actually we are talking about this business-to-business collaborations for product development. And also, I think like new skills can be developed for customer analytics. I think at the moment the scale of customer analytics, existing scales are limited. We could have a look at, for example, whether customer analytics is providing more insights into latent or existing needs and so on. And finally, how customer analytics, as I said before, interacts with other technologies like AI, for example, how it interacts, how it facilitates, or how it is facilitated by other digital technologies in the context of product development, including it may be design of fashion products actually. It could also be considered in future research. So these are my references, and thank you. I can have, if you have any questions, thank you. Thank you.